Hello, this video lecture is on Introduction to Patterns. Let us begin with the Introduction to Patterns. So let us now understand what I mean by a pattern. Before proceeding to the technical terms, in a layman language, let us know what I mean by a pattern. Suppose consider whenever I go to a tailor to get a dress stitched, he or she is having some common template for to stitch that dress. Based on one's body fittings, there may be some kind of similar variations which may vary from one individual to another individual. But the common template to stitch a particular dress for a man or woman is fixed, right? To this, somewhere you will get to an understanding that a pattern is a well proven solution by some of the people who have already worked out for that. Maybe the people we call it as the software engineers or the software architectures who are involved in this refining and developing this patterns, right? So expert experts proven solution for a given problem. So whenever I'm building a complex project, when I'm working with a complex project, I've got to do a lot of refinements and responsibilities for the different subcomponents. That time, whenever these people have been continuously working in a complex project, they come across problems which are in similar to the previous problems which they have occurred, right? When they find problems which are very similar to the previous problem, definitely what they do, they apply the same solution what they had applied to the previous problem. So as on when they have been doing this, somewhere it came to a realization to a people that when we are occurring or when we are finding the same set of problems in while solving the projects, we're building the projects, right? Why don't we keep this as some set of problem solution pairs so that even a non-expert people can utilize it during their project. So these observations were made by experts, not by a new programmer, but these were already made by an experts. So as these were made by an experts, what they tried to do, they tried to keep these proven solutions so that everyone can use it in their life and they don't have to start it from the scratch. They don't have to waste their time actually in finding the solution from the scratch. So it is nothing but a list of problem and solution pairs. So there will be a list some problems which will be facing in the project, and it has got some solution, right? Some similar problem, some similar solutions have already been given by some proven experts, and we should be very thankful to those experts who are given those problem solution pairs so that others don't waste their precious time in building the from scratch. So before starting with the more details of the pattern, one of the best example we can learn is model weave controller pattern. It is one of the best architectural pattern which is helpful to studying the patterns. Let us look what is we mean by model weave controller pattern. This is one of the diagram for the model weave controller pattern. Suppose imagine that there is some grocery store where a lot of people have been giving up while they buy the things for making up the billing. And every time the owner or the people who are involved in giving those bills, they have to make the entry in the manual. So they are in need of some software. So what they come up? They come up with the software where, with the help of a barcode scanner, the automatic bills are generated, right? So in this model, think or imagine of the software. In this type of software, we will be having three components here: model, controller, and weave. So model is nothing but which consists of data and the exact core functionality, or I can say the logic. Our weave model consists of the the visualization of the data which we are giving to the users. Maybe the list of all the grocery items, what I can give it to the end user or to the billing people who have been using it. And this controller is nothing but this controller takes the input from the users or the person who are been doing the billing. So from here you can segregate this model as a backend which has a data and a function core functionality. A view can act as a front end. So in this, just imagine, and whenever I say weave, there can be different types of weaves. Like whenever there is a data, the data can be weaved through the form of an Excel sheet, or it can be weaved with the form of a pie chart, a graph, or any types of weaves. But our problem means, so why you are going with this MVC model is the data remains the same, right? The core functionality remains the same, but the views can be of different types based on the user's requirement. And you can see by this arrow mark how they are communicating. The model and view, they are communicating directly. The view and the controller are communicating directly, and controller and model are communicating directly. Right? Whenever there is an input or it has been given some input taken from the users, right, it will be modified to the model, and that model will update to the view. Can you see here? Here that model will be updated to the view, but controller will not update to the view, right? So whenever there is a changes through view, right, that is updated to the controller, with then to the model, and model updates it to the view. You can see how we are making these components as independent, but we are seeing that there is some cohesiveness between this three different components. So likewise, what I can achieve, I am able to achieve some kind of independency, right, to my data. I can achieve some independency to the view, right? That is nothing my front end. And the controller. Controller is nothing but if the inputs, if I give inputs through keyboard or mouse, right? All the inputs are taken by the controller. Weave is gives a visualization of what the user is able to weave the data. And here all my data and core logic will be stored. You can see how these have been uh, communicating with each other, having a lot of flexibility in them. So this architectural pattern, right, gives us the freedom to have different views from the model, right, and keeping separator as a controller as a separate component. So using this architectural pattern, which is especially used for interactive systems, right, user interactive systems, it gives a more flexibility rather than merging all the components and making it tightly coupled. So from this brief understanding, let us look at the definition of a pattern. A pattern for software architecture describes recurring design problem. So let us understand what I mean by recurring design problem. So whenever I say recurring design problem, it means that this design problem is being encountered again and again in the software development, right? It is not the problem which has been occurred once. If the problem occurs only once, right, we doesn't have to develop a pattern for it. But this problem is repetitive, that arises in specific design context. Design context may vary. The software which I'm developing for a grocery store is different from the software which I'm developing for a CAD system. It depends on context to contents and presents a well-proven generic scheme for its solution. Let us concentrate here on this pattern gives a generic scheme for the solution. It is not the solution. but it gives a generic scheme for the solution. Later, I have to do variations. I can have a combination of different patterns and I can implement it according to my own problem context. The solution is specified by describing its constituent components, their responsibilities, relationships, and the way in which they collaborate. So a pattern can have different constituent, different components. Like in MVC, you see, I observed three triad, three model, view, and control, three different components, and every component is having its own responsibility. A model has got its responsibility, a view has got its responsibility, and a controller has got its own responsibility. So those functions should be, or those methods or classes, whatever they are having, it should be invoked in only within that particular boundary, right? It should, there should not be merging of the methods. So my methods whichever I want in weave, it should be only in weave, which the method which I should want in controller, it should be always in a controller. And how they are collaborating, how they are communicating with each other to get the work done. Okay, now let us see what makes a pattern. When I see about a pattern, there is some components that is a pattern is built up. There are three main parts which is a pattern is made up of. The first one is context, problem, and a solution. Right? In every pattern, there must be some context, problem, and solution. So when I speak about context, what is that context is exactly about? It is nothing but it is a design situation giving rise to a design problem, right? Suppose whenever I want to construct a room where people love to sit near the window panel, right? There is some context that is making me to have a window to that room, and even the requirements that most of the people would like to love to sit near the window should be met. So that is giving some context that what it is telling, it's showing that people should love to sit near the window. So it is a situation that gives rise to some problem. So when the situation is like this, the problem is that I should end up thinking about the solution for this, right? The situation is this scenario. Next is a problem. The problem speaks about it's nothing but a set of forces repeatedly arising in the context. So what it is repeatedly making me to come up with a solution. And the third is what the solution. The third thing which we see is solution. In this, the solution shows how to solve the recurring problem and how to balance the forces associated with it. When it comes to solution, I have to take both of the static aspects as well as the dynamic aspects of the problem. The next thing is we discuss about pattern categories. The patterns are categorized into three main types, that is architectural pattern, design pattern, and idioms. As we can see from the figure, the architectural pattern is has been labeled as coarse and the idiom has been labeled as fine. As we move from idiom to architectural pattern, the we move to the coarse, as well as from when we move from architectural to idiom, we are moving to the fine granularity. With respect to this, what we mean by coarse granularity and fine granularity, when I speak about architectural pattern, it's of more higher level. When I speak about idiom, it comes to the more lower level specifications. Here, architectural patterns is nothing but a high level pattern that helps us to specify the fundamental structure of a system. It has a set of predefined subsystems, specifies the different responsibilities of the subsystems and include the rules for those subsystems as well as the interrelationships. In architectural patterns, we specify a predefined subsystem, their rules, relationships, what they share among different subsystems. When I speak about design pattern, here the subsystems of a software architecture uh, as well share relations between them. So here when I speak about subsystems, they are having some relations between them. And when we speak about these several smaller architecture in units, we call this as a design patterns. So design patterns are medium scaled when compared to the architectural patterns. They organize the subsystems functionality. Now, when I speak about the third pattern category, that is idioms, it is speaks about lower level patterns to solve specific implementation problems. It can be specific to any particular programming language. The next important aspect we see in pattern is pattern description, and mainly here we list few of the aspects that how patterns are described before when we are studying the pattern, as well as whenever if I ever find out a new pattern, then how I'm going to write description for that particular pattern. It helps both for studying and for writing of the new patterns. So among this template, this is a common generic template to study any kind of pattern. The first thing in pattern description, it's having its name. Here, I'm giving some in the sense the here I should be very careful when I'm giving a name to a pattern. Whenever I'm giving to a name to a pattern, the naming constraint should be as such that whenever I say proxy pattern or MVC pattern or publisher subscriber pattern or forwarder receiver pattern, by listening this name, the other users should understand what are the functionalities of them. Whenever I speak about MVC pattern, then I don't have to explicitly explain people that MVC pattern does so and so functionality. By uh, getting to know the name, they should know what the functionalities of that pattern. So I should give such a short summary of the pattern, the name and a short summary of the pattern. And this also known as any other names for a particular pattern. If there are any other names available, then I can also know name it in also known as. Next is example. See, when I speak about example, here I'll be demonstrating a real world example, the existence of problem and the need for the pattern. So I will be explaining to the users some real world problem and the need for that pattern. Next is context. As this is a situation that is giving rise to a problem in which the pattern may apply. The next is problem, right? The problem pattern addresses including a discussion of its associated different forces. The next comes about solution, the fundamental solution principle underlying that problem. So suppose when I want to have a high interactive system, so it's better I go for an MVC model where they can be views can be managed without being dependent on a model. So likewise, every pattern has got its own solution based on the problem context. The next is structure. It is a detailed specification of the structural aspects of the pattern. Right? We'll study what CRC cards are in later videos. It gives a detailed specification. The next thing is dynamics. In dynamics, it gives a typical scenarios about the runtime behavior of the pattern. So for every pattern, we'll be studying all these aspects. This is a generic template for all the patterns. Next is implementation. So here in implementation, we give an generic structure for the implementation aspect. It can be in C++, it can be in Smalltalk, it can be in Java. These generic code which has been given, it has to be redefined according to their own conveniences or variations. So this implementation code is not that I'm giving the complete solution which can be implemented. No, it's just a generic implementation structure. Later it has to be redefined and modified. Next, I give about the example resolved. Here I am discussion of any important aspects for resolving the example that are not yet recovered in the solution. Next is variants. In variants, a brief description of variants or specialization of patterns will be discussed. If I am taking some MVC pattern, it is not that the whole project I am implementing with the MVC pattern. Along with MVC pattern, I can have a publisher pattern. Right, so in the previous diagram you might have seen somewhere when I was giving an update, right? There was some subscriber used, so I can in combination I can use some other patterns to have some variants. Like the other aspect is known uses. Here it is example of the uses of the patterns, so where it can be applicable. Next, where it is consequences. In consequences, we are studying the benefits of the pattern and any potential liabilities of that particular pattern. The last thing is about we study about cross reference, also known as CO also in your prescribed textbook. So cross references tells that about similar types of problems, and to that patterns helps us to redefine the pattern we are actually describing. So what we do, we refer the similar type of patterns and what we can read